Well, from time to time, I am wrong, and I think I might have actually been wrong about what I was speculating when it comes to Agatha All Along, the new Marvel television series on Disney Plus. I had been suspecting that this show was going to be something similar to what we saw with the Acolyte and just be an absolute pile of crap. And I've seen the first two episodes, and I'm here to say that I might have been wrong at least to some degree about my speculations. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys my thoughts on that. And also, we got a trailer dropping this morning for Marvel Studios' next film, Thunderbolts. And everybody's been wondering what the deal was with this film and this anti-hero movie that they had planned to come out. And I've seen the trailer and I'm pessimistically excited. Also, we have some box office numbers. The new Transformers film came out in theaters, Transformers 1, and it's not looking good. But let's just go ahead and dig into it. As always, make sure to visit criticalist.com, or you can find us in the Android and App Stores, Apple and Android. We are an entertainment reviewing platform for reviewing whatever movies and TV shows you're watching. Kind of think Rotten Tomatoes, except for not trash, and then social. So yeah, go ahead, drop a review if you've watched Agatha All Along. We're interested to hear your thoughts. So definitely do that, because we've got 2 reviews so far, one good, one bad. But I'm interested to hear as things keep progressing, and maybe you want to wait till the end, and I would not hold that against you either, because I'll probably do the same. But that doesn't mean you can't hop over into our water cooler area and talk about this show, which is essentially just a message board where you can just talk with other people about what you're watching for any piece of entertainment. And this specific one has been fairly active, and people are talking about this most likely because they're not ready to review it yet, or even just to see if anybody's talking about it. But on to this show and my thoughts about it. You know, like I said earlier, I was curious if this was going to be another situation like The Acolyte, because what we've been getting is a lot of these shows that tout themselves on messaging and agenda, and then when they come out, it turns out to be that that's the only thing that they prioritize. They didn't prioritize quality storytelling or making sure that people were engaged, or even just making a quality project. But it seems like that's not the case with Agatha All Along. Now, I have seen both the episodes. They dropped 2 for the release out of the 9 episodes that there's going to be. And I'll have to say that I was pleasantly surprised. Now, granted, I am not crazy about this show. Don't get me wrong there. I don't think that this is the best thing I've ever seen. But also, I think that that is more indicative of how this show is made and who it is geared towards, not necessarily the specific quality level of it or the other interests that people are going to have in it. See, because the thing is I feel like that there's going to be this concerted effort from a lot of people to discourage watching this show simply because of the anti-Disney movement currently going on, and a lot of the narrative surrounding this film, because this show, because they've done something very similar that they did with The Acolyte. And I think a lot of it is to be blamed on the press. I've mentioned this before, but the press leads actors, actresses, directors, showrunners, all of these people involved with these shows into politically divisive conversations that then these people lean into ignorantly instead of just leaving it ambiguous, and it ends up making the show come out to look worse than it actually is. And that seems to be the case here, where they're marketing this thing as the gayest Marvel thing ever made. And it's like, but who cares? Yes, there can be gay characters, fine, whatever, not a big deal. Like, the thing is it's just, it doesn't need to be marketed as such. And I think that a lot of this is to be blamed on the media and some of the actors and actresses for leaning into it instead of just being like, I don't know, that's not, we're just making a show, I hope people enjoy it, which should be the response. But I've watched it and I had a fairly good time. And the thing that I was most interested about, I waited to watch this with my wife, because if you were to give me, or if you wanted me to give you a target demographic for this show, I would say women, specifically probably in their 30s, 20s, 40s, somewhere in that ballpark, and especially ones that are into the spooky and or witchy stuff. That's the demographic for this. And I wouldn't have normally even cared that much about Marvel doing this, and would have actually been excited about it quite some time ago, because obviously Marvel tended to be a brand that marketed more towards men, but over the past several years, it has been catered specifically to women and just trying to get these outside audiences that aren't showing up for the films. And then also these agendas being attached to the films has just resulted in them not being very good. But the thing is like I said, is this one seems to be fairly well done. I have my complaints, which I will voice, but the thing is like, for example, my wife watched it. I waited around for her to see it with me and she loved it. She was like, this is great. Think it's really exciting and fun, and I'm interested to see where it goes, and I like these characters and what they're doing. And I was like, great, that's perfect. And a while back, that's exactly what I would have wanted, because I would have wanted her on board with my brand, the things that I love. Would have wanted her to want to go to the Marvel movies, to want to see these characters, to want to know more about the world and what's going on within it. But the problem is just that the damage has been done to the brand over the past couple years, and not just this brand, but Star Wars and many others, for similar agendas. And so people are automatically just turning on things like this without giving them a chance. And I understand, and I'm not here to fault you for doing that. That if that's your prerogative and you're not on board with what Disney is doing, that's a whole nother conversation entirely. But if you were willing to give something like this a chance, I would say if you were in that target demographic, definitely check it out. And the thing is I'm not necessarily in that demographic, but I had a fine enough time watching it. Now, I did have some issues. I think that there is some bad writing in this show, and not only just some bad writing, some of the delivery and stuff from actually Agatha specifically. Now, Catherine Hahn, she can do an excellent job. She is a great actress, but just in this specific thing, when she's not playing Agatha specifically and playing Agatha in another type of role, I wasn't big on those moments. It was just very kind of overacted, over the top, but also over the top written and just kind of cheesy lines. So there's some of the dialogue and things that just aren't working for me, but it didn't seem to bother my wife at all. So it could just be me to some degree, or it could just be how they're catering it, and they know that they're the audience that they're marketing towards and what they're going to like, and that is fine. It's not the end of the world. Now, is this going to be the Marvel show that all of the old school fans are going to come back for and be excited about? No, I don't think it is. And I don't think that, you can't have such a narrow demographic for something and then expect to get these big results and bring in all of these old school fans that were, wanting to see Thor and Hulk and Captain America and Spider-Man and all of these characters, but then have them come along for this. They're probably just not going to do it. But I will say that they were able to ride the line fairly well with WandaVision, which this is a spinoff of, and I actually love WandaVision. I think that it's one of Marvel's best shows. But this show specifically is very much a little bit more of a narrow audience, and so that's just the result they're going to get. I'm interested by the end of all this if it ends up doing a little bit better than expected, or if some of these folks like me that are Marvel fans will continue to watch just because it's not a bad show. This isn't The Acolyte. The Acolyte was one of the worst written, worst acted, worst directed. Just everything about it is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. This is not The Acolyte, and that was my prediction. And I'm excited and happy that that's not the case. This show looks pretty good. It's fairly fun, and you can sit through it and enjoy it and not just cringe the whole way and just worry about them destroying something you love, which was the case for a lot of people with The Acolyte. The case wasn't about diversity and all these things with the complaint with The Acolyte. It was just that it's bad. And the thing is here is that it's not that bad. Now, there are going to be people trashing it. We had OMB reviews. He's already, after the first 2 episodes, given it a heinous at a 15%. It's not that. I don't agree. I wildly disagree with that. And then 300 Mirrors, who is in that target demographic that I was talking about, she liked it quite a bit. And she's like, look, it could still end up being bad, but right now, this is what I wanted. So, you know what? I'd say give it a try. And there's 2 episodes. The first one I don't think is as good as the second one. Things start to finally get their footing. And if you saw the trailer, then you know that the first episode almost entirely is kind of spoiled and you know where things are going. But I think that this is a fairly serviceable spinoff for now of WandaVision. I don't know that so far if it's going to be as good. I think WandaVision was quite good. It's just the ending was so-so. But this thing, I'm on board. I will keep watching it. And I'll watch it because my wife wants to watch it and she's enjoying it. So give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know if you've seen Agatha All Along, or if you plan to, or if maybe I've incentivized you to maybe watch it. It's really not that bad. It's a pretty decent time, and I'm curious to see where it goes and what they're going to do in this part of the Marvel Universe, because I like the dark part of the Marvel Universe. So if this leads to more things, and if it does well, then great. And, if you want to see Catherine Hahn's butt, that's in this as well, which was interesting. But I like it so far, and I think Deborah Jo Rupp, she is kind of the standout star for me so far, and the comedic relief, and is doing an excellent job. She's from that '70s show, and you'll recognize her instantly. And she came from WandaVision as well. But I think that she is doing great in this, and I just kind of want to watch it for her. But moving on, I mentioned that we got a trailer for the Thunderbolts. Now, I don't want to do a whole trailer reaction or anything like that for this, but I'll say that I was nervous about this in general. I wasn't sure how it was going to be. And actually, now after seeing the trailer, I'm quite excited. If you don't know what the Thunderbolts is basically this anti-hero Marvel Universe bit of characters that they've slowly been bringing together over time. There are multiple villains or semi-villains from the TV shows and or movies, and they're collecting them all together to make this team called the Thunderbolts. They're from the comics. I'm pretty sure I own some Thunderbolts comics, and they're a cool team. They're fun, but the thing is Marvel has not been firing on all cylinders of late. They've only just been doing okay stuff, so I really wasn't that excited and thought that this might suck, just partially because of who the characters are going to be, and that I wasn't sure if I was going to care about all of these characters being in a film. Now, I just paused it here. This character, Bob, I forgot that this character was going to be in this movie, and this actually also added to my excitement for this. Bob is a character that is a carryover from the comics as well, and actually he was recast. I think it was originally supposed to be Stephen Yeun from the Walking Dead series and many things at this point, but he ended up not being in the film, and now we've got this character here, or this actor here, playing the character of Bob. But Bob is Sentry. Sentry is a character from the MCU who is basically a god tier hero. This is kind of Marvel's Superman, except for maybe stronger. The Sentry is pretty stinking cool, and we've never seen him in live action, and he's just kind of this regular dude that remembers that he's a superhero. Now, they're just introducing him here, and I'm guessing that he's going to be at the core of the plot of what is happening in this movie, and I'm pretty intrigued. This could be really cool, and the introduction of this character with these more kind of almost street level-ish, not many of them have superpowers individuals, or at least there are some superhero or super serum enhanced characters in this, and that's the thing with Sentry as well, is that he basically got the best version of the kind of Captain America superhero serum type deal, and he is extraordinarily strong, and like I said, just a god tier hero. We finally found someone stronger than Miss Marvel, so there's that, and hopefully this character has more depth than Miss Marvel has had within the MCU. But I am actually excited now after seeing this trailer, and I'd encourage you to watch it. They're calling it a teaser, but somehow the teaser has managed to be 3.5 minutes long, which is kind of crazy for a teaser. Back when I was growing up, teasers for trailers were like 30 seconds long. But, you know, hey, I'm excited for this, which I wasn't expecting to be. So check out the Thunderbolts trailer. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you're maybe more intrigued about this movie now after seeing the trailer, because I'm excited about it. I think it looks pretty cool, and I'm most excited about Sentry / Bob. So check it out. Check it out. Give it a watch if you've been cooled out on the MCU. This might get you a little more excited. It looks actually pretty cool and like a pretty solid action flick, and I want to know where they're going with this, and this might be another kind of return to form for Marvel. They seem to be getting their crap together at least a little bit of late. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch on was the box office, which has me very bummed. Check out my Transformers 1 video. It was the last one we did. I reviewed this movie. I had an absolute blast, and I worked pretty hard on that video and think it turned out pretty well. And I think it's an excellent film. I had a blast. I went and saw it with my son, and we had a really good time out at the movies. If you're an old school Transformers fan, I think you will like Transformers 1. And if you are not huge on them, but curious what all the fuss is about, and maybe want more of an intro to this world, this is a perfect place to start, because it's an origin story and it's an animated movie, which is kind of back to the Transformers roots. Now, the problem here is that this movie has basically completely and totally tanked. I pulled up OMB, or Odin's article that he does for Geeks and Gamers every week. And basically what he broke down here is Transformers 1 had the worst opening in franchise history, losing even to Bumblebee from 2018. When you compare ticket sales and adjust for opening for inflation, to put things into perspective, the estimated opening weekend ticket sales for the domestic release of Transformers 1 sits at about 1,923,077 tickets sold, going back to last year's Rise of the Beast, which did about over twice that, and Bumblebee did somewhere in the middle. So this is not looking too great. He said one could argue that good word of mouth and many fans praising the film could be enough to keep it alive and just kind of give this movie legs. But with these numbers right now, it's looking like it's going to be a bomb, regardless of how well it's doing and how much people think that it's great. Now, granted, this next weekend, there's nothing like this coming out, I don't think, but it's going to be hard for them to dig themselves out of this hole, and we will probably see it on Paramount Plus within like a month. So you could watch it then as well, I guess. But I would recommend seeing this in theaters. It's fun, especially if you have kids. Take them, go watch it, have a good time. This is a fun movie. I hate that it's not doing well. And we did see Beetlejuice continue to destroy and just do really well. They're going to be at that 400 million mark, which is pretty good for a movie that they did not think was going to be this big. So I guess congrats to that movie, even though I think that it is a far inferior film to Transformers 1, and just not that great in general. Sorry to all you people who love Beetlejuice, I did not think it was that great. But that's the end of that. Let me know your thoughts on Agatha and Thunderbolts and Transformers 1 not doing well. I want to hear everything down in the comments. And as usual, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, do all that, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button, and then visit criticalist.com and go ahead and leave us some reviews. Go hang out, meet some friends, and just talk about all the things that you are enjoying. And I will see you back here again tomorrow for the news. Later.